Hello everybody. Today we'll be focusing on TOEFL speaking task 4 taken from Official TOEFL IBT Tests Volume 1, the 4th edition, EDS TOEFL. Okay, now we will be listening to a lecture. Our job is to focus on two visual elements which the professor will be analyzing and describing in detail. Okay, so the professor will first talk about the first visual element, and then he will give one specific example. Then the professor will talk about the second visual element, and he will give the second example. Okay, so make sure to take notes. Remember, you must write down only the key words. Okay, you don't want to write long sentences, only the key words, because based on these notes, you will then give your presentation. Let's do it now.
Listen to part of a talk in an art appreciation class.
In order for art to communicate, to appeal to the emotions or the intellect, it has to combine various visual elements to express meaning or emotion. It's really the visual components of the work, things like color, texture, shape, lines, and how these elements work together that tell us something about the work. Artists combine and manipulate these visual elements to express a message or to create a mood. Think about how a painter might use color, for example. You all know from experience that different colors appeal in different ways to the senses and can convey different meanings. An artist chooses certain colors to evoke a particular mood and make powerful statements. The color red, for example, is a strong color and can conjure up strong emotions, such as extreme joy or excitement or even anger. Blue, on the other hand, is considered a cool color. Blue colors tend to have a calming effect on viewers. Another visual element important to art is texture. By texture, I mean the surface quality or feel of the work, its smoothness or roughness or softness. Now, of course, in some types of art, the texture is physical. It can actually be touched by the fingers. But in painting, for example, texture can be visual. The way an artist paints certain areas of a painting can create the illusion of texture, an object's smoothness or roughness or softness. A rough texture can evoke stronger emotions and strength, while a smooth texture is more calming and less emotional. As I said earlier, artists often combine elements to convey a message about the work. Take a painting that, say, uses a lot of strong colors like reds and oranges and uses brush strokes that are broad, wide sweeping brush strokes that suggest a rough texture. Well, these elements together can convey a wilder, more chaotic emotion in the viewer more than in, say, a painting with tiny, smooth brush strokes and soft or pale colors. Artists use these visual effects and the senses they arouse to give meaning to their work.
Using points and examples from the lecture, explain the importance of visual elements in painting.
All right, now let's look at the notes, which are very, very important before giving our presentation. So first, we need to focus on visual element 1. Okay, the professor says different colors appeal in different ways to the senses and can convey different meanings. Okay, and then she focuses on one example. She says the color red, for example, is a strong color and can conjure up strong emotions such as extreme joy or excitement or even anger. Blue, on the other hand, is considered a cool color. Blue colors tend to have a calming effect on viewers. Okay, so this is the example which is relevant to this first visual element. Next, now let's focus on the second visual element. The professor says another visual element important to art is texture. So that's the keyword, texture. And now let's focus on one example. The professor says a rough texture can evoke stronger emotions and strength, while a smooth texture is more calming and less emotional. So we've got all the necessary notes. Now let's look at my model answer. Listen to me carefully and repeat after me. The lecture explains the importance of visual elements in painting based on 2 examples. Firstly, different colors appeal in different ways to the senses and can convey different meanings. For example, as the color red is a strong one, it can convey extreme joy or excitement. By contrast, blue shades usually have a calming effect on viewers. Secondly, texture has the potential to express smoothness, roughness, or softness. While a rough texture can evoke stronger emotions and strength, a smooth texture can create a more calming and less emotional effect visually or when touched. These examples show how visual effects can affect a viewer's perception of artwork. All right. Now let's look at the structure of my response. Okay, firstly, you must explain the main idea. So you should say the lecturer explains the importance of. Okay, and then based on 2 examples. And then firstly, talk about the first kind of visual element. Okay, and then give 1 specific example, and you use the phrase by contrast when you want to talk about the opposite situation. Then you should say secondly, talk about the second visual element, and then you use while when you want to contrast 2 different ideas, black and white, rich and poor. Okay, so while, and then like here we have a rough texture can evoke stronger emotions and strength. Here we have stronger emotions. And then a smooth texture can create a more calming or less emotional effect. As you can see, they have the opposite effect, and that's why we need to use the word while. And here in the last paragraph, I summarized the lecture by saying these examples show how, and explain exactly what these examples show. All right, and that's the end of this video presentation. I hope you have learned some strategies that will help you to achieve a high score in the TOEFL examination. Thank you very much, and good luck with your exam.